Do you suffer from migraines, skin rashes, allergies, bloating, heartburn, fatigue, or just feel generally unwell? Or have you developed an allergy to a food substance you used to enjoy earlier and can no longer tolerate? Did you know that many health issues, from minor annoyances like these to serious conditions like diabetes, dementia, and autoimmune disorders, can often be traced back to imbalances in our gut microbiome? As a gynecologist, I see many patients suffering from PCOD, endometriosis, infertility, premenstrual syndrome, fibroids, and so on. On top of that, some of my patients also face issues like diabetes, hypertension, autoimmune disorders like psoriasis or thyroiditis or rheumatoid arthritis, and even mental health problems. What's truly surprising is that while these conditions appear in different parts of the body and are seemingly unrelated, they are all deeply connected when you look at the root cause in the gut. So in this video, we will learn in detail what exactly leaky gut is and how the gut can become leaky, allowing these substances which should normally remain within the lumen of our intestine to pass through into the bloodstream and cause havoc or inflammation there. I'm Dr. Jyoti, a gynecologist who is fascinated by how the microbiome, epigenetics, and the mind-body connection all weave together to create health and disease. Welcome to episode 4 of Microbiome Magic. Imagine this, your gut is like a medieval castle, fortified and well protected against invaders. The walls of this castle are crucial, keeping out invaders while allowing friends and merchants carrying goods to pass through. But what happens when these walls start to crumble? It creates gaps through which invaders can get through and attack you, isn't it? So this is exactly what happens in leaky gut. The intestinal walls start to crumble and break apart, creating gaps in between the intestinal cells through which undigested food particles and bacteria found inside the intestinal lumen start to go through into the bloodstream. So we already discussed in a previous video that 70% of our immune system lies in the intestine. And the immune cells which lie beneath the intestinal cell lining detect these substances which are coming through as foreign because it's not normally found in the bloodstream, and they start to attack these foreign substances. And since this leakage occurs chronically and slowly over a long period of time, this leads to chronic inflammation, and the cytokines or the chemicals which are released from the immune cells as a part of the inflammation can travel through the bloodstream, going to different parts of the body where they create inflammation in your brain, your liver, your pancreas, and all the organs, leading to several diseases in different parts of the body, like neurodegenerative diseases, fatty liver, autoimmune disorders, etc. Hippocrates, who lived 2500 years ago, said that all disease begins in the gut. Today, modern science is proving him right. We are finding out just how much these tiny little bacteria in our gut affects our overall health. When our gut bacteria are healthy and happy, we also remain healthy and happy. So the first step leading to a leaky gut is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis means there is an imbalance or disruption in the normal composition of our gut microbiome. This can occur when the beneficial bacteria in the gut are reduced, or when harmful bacteria or fungi or viruses or other microorganisms increase in proportion. When our gut microbiome is in balance, it helps to maintain the integrity of the gut lining. However, when there is a dysbiosis, the protective barrier is compromised, leading to leaky gut and a cascade of health problems. Our gut is a long tube which connects the mouth to the anus, and a leaky gut can occur anywhere in between, from the stomach to the small intestine to the large intestine. But the majority of our gut microbiome resides in the large intestine, and today we are talking about the large intestine and its anatomy. So this is the lining of your gut. It is made up of a single layer of cells. Now these cells are connected together by structures called tight junctions, which prevent unwanted substances from entering your bloodstream. The undigested food particles stay inside the lumen of the gut or the hollow tube. On top of this lining in the large intestine, there is a mucus layer which has two parts. The inner part, which is shown in the darker shade of green, is called the mucin 2 layer. It is relatively sterile, which means that very few bacteria live inside this layer. But the outer mucin 1 layer, which is thinner and more fluid, has a lot of bacteria living in it, and this is the layer closer to the lumen where all the microbes live and swim around happily. These bacteria are essential for producing compounds which are essential to maintain the health of the intestinal barrier or the intestinal cells. A healthy mucus layer is constantly being built from the bottom up. The thick protective mucin 2 layer is secreted by the goblet cells in the intestinal lining and pushed upwards. Microbes at the top, which are there swimming in the mucin 1 layer, eat the mucin 2, the top layer of the mucin 2, turning it into the thinner mucin 1 layer. As the mucin 1 moves up, it eventually gets sloughed off and exits the body through our stools. So this process is similar to how our skin renews itself from the inside out, with the topmost layer shedding off and newer layers being formed from below. In addition, these intestinal cells also secrete certain molecules called antimicrobial peptides like lactoferrin and defensins, etc. And these antimicrobial proteins help to protect the gut from harmful bacteria. A healthy gut has around 200 to 700 species of bacteria living in it. And these bacteria need fiber from plant foods to grow and thrive. Now, what is fiber? Fiber is the cell wall of plants. Animal foods do not contain fiber. Processed plant foods also lack fiber. For example, whole wheat flour is slightly processed, but it has all the components of wheat in it, including the fiber. But when you process it further to make maida or all-purpose flour, then it is completely devoid of fiber. That is why highly processed foods are not healthy for your gut microbiome. Humans do not have the enzymes required to digest fiber. So, the undigested fiber in our food passes down to the large intestine, where our beneficial bacteria feed happily on the fiber, producing many compounds, of which short chain fatty acids are very important. So, let us talk about the short chain fatty acids, of which the most important ones in the large intestine are acetate, butyrate, and propionate. They are important compounds produced by our bacteria. They play several crucial roles in keeping our gut healthy and maintaining our overall well-being. The concentration of lactate is very low compared to the other 3 short-chain fatty acids in the intestine. Lactic acid is the major short-chain fatty acid found in the vagina, where lactobacillus dominates. Short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, are the main energy source for the cells lining the intestines called colonocytes. Butyrate is particularly important because it provides most of the energy these cells need, supplying about 60 to 70% of their energy. And this energy is crucial for helping the intestinal cells grow and multiply, and also for the mucus secretion by the goblet cells, and for the maintenance of the tight junctions in between these intestinal cells. In addition, short-chain fatty acids have been shown to exert an anti-inflammatory effect on the intestinal epithelium, helping to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. This means they keep your gut lining healthy and strong, preventing problems and keeping everything going smoothly. They also strengthen the tight junctions between the intestinal cells, ensuring a strong barrier that keeps harmful substances from entering into the bloodstream. Short-chain fatty acids help to train your immune system by making sure it fights off bad germs without attacking things that aren't dangerous. When the balance is off, your immune system might start reacting to things that aren't harmful, like food particles, which leads to allergies and food reactions. So if you have recently developed a food reaction to some food substance, you have to be aware that it might be indicating an imbalance in your gut microbiome. But that's not all. Short-chain fatty acids also help your gut talk to your brain, influencing things like your appetite and mood. So short-chain fatty acids help keep your immune system smart and balanced, preventing unnecessary reactions, and even play a part in how you feel and when you feel hungry. But the process doesn't end there. Goblet cells also need a signal to start producing mucus. So goblet cells need the butyrate, which acts as a fuel for them, and they also need that signal, and this signal comes from a bacteria called Akkermansia muciniphila. This bacteria eats the top layer of the mucin 2 layer and turns on a gene in our body called the MUC2 gene, and this gene tells the goblet cells to produce mucus. Additionally, another bacteria called Faecalibacterium prausnitzii produces the butyrate from the fiber present in the food we eat. So this butyrate then becomes the food or the fuel for the goblet cells. These 2 bacteria are examples of keystone species of our gut microbiome. Think of keystone species as the most valuable players of a team. So these bacteria which I told you, along with some other bacteria, are the key players or the most valuable players of your gut microbiome. These bacteria may not be more numerous, most numerous, but their impact on the ecosystem is massive. They hold everything together and make sure that the community of microbes in your gut functions smoothly. So keystone species are the social butterflies and connectors of the microbial world. They interact with many other bacteria, creating a network of cooperation and competition that keeps everything balanced. When they are around, your gut ecosystem thrives. But what happens if these keystone species go missing? It's like pulling out the key players from a sports team. The whole game changes. The balance in your gut gets disrupted, and this can lead to a cascade of problems affecting how your gut functions and how you feel. In short, keystone species are essential for maintaining the delicate harmony in your gut. Without them, the entire system can fall out of sync, highlighting just how crucial these microbial most valuable players are for your health. So to recap, a healthy gut lining has a diverse and abundant microbial communities that produce a lot of short-chain fatty acids. And these short-chain fatty acids provide energy to the intestinal epithelial cells, keeping them healthy and enabling the secretion of mucus from the goblet cells. Additionally, these short-chain fatty acids have anti-inflammatory properties, preventing inflammation in the gut lining. And the healthy intestinal cells are tightly connected by tight junctions, which prevent harmful substances from leaking from the intestinal lumen into the bloodstream. So let's see what happens in dysbiosis. The number of beneficial bacteria decrease, so that there is a decrease in the production of butyrate, which is essential for the intestinal cells to produce mucus. And when mucus production decreases, it means the intestinal lining has weakened. That is not all. We know that small chain fatty acids or short chain fatty acids are required to maintain the tight junctions in between the intestinal cells. And in addition, there are high levels of the mucus degrading bacteria which eats away on the mucus, again leading to thinning of the mucosal layer. The deficiency of short chain fatty acids like butyrate causes weakening of the tight junctions, and the intestinal cells become inflamed and starts to break down. This disrupted intestinal mucosa causes the contents of the intestinal lumen, which includes undigested food particles and the bacteria in the gut, to pass through into the bloodstream. The immune system, which lies just below the intestinal lining, detects these substances and mounts an attack against them, thus causing inflammation of the gut lining. Now, the gram-negative bacteria in the gut, they are normally present in all our guts, but normally they stay within the lumen, and when these bacteria die and break off, there are lipopolysaccharides on the outer membrane of these bacteria which are toxic to us. They are called endotoxins. So, but when there is a leaky gut, these endotoxins start going into our bloodstream, and then it causes chronic inflammation all over the body. So what happens is, when the endotoxins get into the bloodstream, they trigger a strong immune response from the immune cells that lie beneath the intestinal epithelial lining. So remember, 70% of your immune system is found in the intestine, and this response leads to inflammation as the body tries to neutralize and remove the toxins. In cases of acute infections like in diarrhea or typhoid and all, where the bacteria enter the bloodstream, this can lead to a severe condition called septicemia. So in septicemia, the inflammation is intense and short-living but overwhelming, causing symptoms like fever, chills, and a rapid drop in blood pressure, which is called shock. So while acute and chronic inflammation involve endotoxins, their impacts are different. In septicemia or acute infection, the response is rapid and intense, while in the case of leaky gut, the inflammation builds up slowly, leading to ongoing health issues. So keeping your gut health in check helps prevent this gradual chronic inflammation and supports overall well-being. Now let's connect this to leaky gut. In a leaky gut scenario, the intestinal lining is compromised, allowing endotoxin to seep into the bloodstream in a slow and continuous manner. So unlike the acute inflammation seen with septicemia, this chronic exposure to endotoxins causes low-grade persistent inflammation. Over time, this steady inflammation can contribute to various health problems, including metabolic disorders and autoimmune diseases and even cancers. This is how some people start to get allergies to food. For example, a person who has been eating beef all his life suddenly cannot tolerate beef, and the moment he eats beef, he may get urticaria or rashes in the skin, or sometimes he may be having vomiting and other symptoms of allergy to the food. So all these things develop or start from a leaky gut. Research is now connecting dysbiosis to a range of conditions, including obesity, inflammatory bowel disease, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune conditions, neurodegenerative conditions, and even cancer. So what's fascinating is that despite these conditions being very different, seeming to be very different, they all share a common factor, that is disruption in the gut microbiome. Scientists are exploring how shifting the balance of bacteria in your intestine could potentially slow down or even reverse these diseases. So, in order to cure these diseases, they are trying out probiotics. Probiotics are the spores or the live bacteria of these different beneficial bacteria, which we swallow as capsules. And they are also trying out fecal microbiota transplant. You heard it right. You transplant the stools from a healthy person into a diseased person, so that the diseased person will have the good bacteria from the healthy person. As we wrap up our discussion on leaky gut, it is crucial to understand why this knowledge is so important. By knowing the mechanisms behind leaky gut, we unlock the power to address many chronic ailments affecting our society today. The encouraging news is that we have simple, actionable lifestyle choices at our disposal. These choices can dramatically shift the trajectory of our health, keeping us fit and resilient. Sharing this knowledge is vital. Understanding the factors that cause dysbiosis and how we can prevent and treat it is essential. The rise in chronic illnesses in the modern era leaves us no choice but to take immediate action to prevent these conditions. This is especially important for pregnant women. By taking care of their gut health, they can ensure that their children are born with a healthy microbiome, setting the foundation for their lifelong health. By making informed choices today, we can safeguard our health and also the health of the coming generations. So let us embrace this knowledge and make the changes necessary for a healthier, brighter future. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to understand leaky gut. In our upcoming videos, we will dive deep into the various lifestyle factors that keep your microbiome happy and healthy. It's not just about food. There are a lot many other factors that affect our microbiome. I truly appreciate your time and interest. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and relatives. Let us spread the knowledge. Stay tuned for more content, and remember, your health is in your hands. See you next time.